If you love liberty, declare your independence by signing the Shire Society Declaration at shiresociety.com.
Thank you for coming out yet again. We are here for the third time since the beginning of the 2017 legislative session. 7 weeks ago, we stood in basically this same spot and welcomed Representative Joseph Stallcop from Cheshire 4, formerly of the Democratic Party, the second sitting Democrat to join the Libertarian Party in the history of the Libertarian Party. In January, was it January or February? I've lost my place in my speech already. Prior to that, about 3 months prior, we welcomed Caleb Dyer to the Libertarian Party, becoming the first sitting state rep in nearly 2 decades. Again, we are here for the third time to announce a sitting state legislator has become a member of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. When the Libertarian Party had ballot access in the 1990s, the Libertarian House Caucus had 4 members. We're currently at 3. It's my hope and desire that the civil libertarians, the classic liberals, and the philosophical libertarians in the New Hampshire General Court will show the same courage that these other state reps have and join the Libertarian Party and abandon the two-party system that has for so long burdened us with taxation, regulation, and legislation that has trampled our freedoms. Today we welcome Representative Brandon Phinney, who told me that after reading The Libertarian Mind by David Bose, that helped influence his decision to join the Libertarian Party, adding, "The Libertarian Party is where I belong and where I feel most comfortable politically. I hope to be a great asset to the LPNH." I trust that as Representative Phinney continues to embrace libertarian ideology, that he will be an asset to the party. As I have done previously, I will again issue an open invitation to all civil libertarians, classical liberals, and philosophical libertarians in the New Hampshire General Court to defect from the two-party system and join the party of principle. I look forward to this caucus growing to larger sizes than it was 20 years ago, and I look forward to liberty in our lifetime. Please welcome the Libertarian Party National Chairman, Nicholas Sarwark.
Thank you, Daryl. I'm so honored to be here in New Hampshire today. This is actually my first time in the Live Free or Die state. It's been great. The weather's beautiful, especially if you live in a burning hot place like Phoenix. I took a special trip out here at the last minute to come and welcome Representative Phinney to Libertarian Caucus here in New Hampshire. We felt at the National Party that this was a very important sign. As this caucus grows now to 3 members, other things are happening around the country as well. From Nebraska to Utah to Iowa to New Hampshire, all around the country, more and more sitting legislators are realizing that the 2 old parties do not represent them. They do not represent their views, that they're living a lie, that they're part of an old party that doesn't stand for what they believe, the rights of everyone to live the way they choose, as long as they don't hurt other people and they don't take their stuff. That's what the Libertarian Party believes. That's why we got such great vote totals in 2016. That's why we have legislators defecting right and left across the country. This is a great day for New Hampshire. This is a great day for Representative Phinney. This is a great day for the caucus. There's something magical when you've had to live in a way where you've hidden some of your views, when you've held back from saying what you believe, when you've stopped doing what you ought to do because you wore a label that didn't fit you. That day that you come out of the closet and stand up and proudly say, I am a libertarian. I believe not in some of your freedoms some of the time, not in gun rights or gay rights. I believe in all of your freedoms all of the time. That's who I am. I'm so proud of all the representatives here in New Hampshire who have come to join the Libertarian Party. And I too extend an invitation not only to members of the New Hampshire General Court, but to legislators, councilmen, politicians, and Americans all around this country. If you're tired of living a lie, if you're tired of standing up for things you don't believe in, come out of the closet, become a libertarian, come home. And with that, I'd like to give it to Representative Caleb Dyer.
Thank you. Good morning. Today I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Representative Phinney into the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Back in early February, when I defected from the Republican Party, I was in a very similar position to Brandon. I was banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how to work with a party that seemed intent on shutting down any ideas that did not fit its policy agenda. I had been under the impression that the party was supposed to be helping its members work with the chairmen and women of the committees to help pass their legislative proposals. Instead, I found myself being met with stiff opposition from House leadership on legislation that my constituents had asked me to file. In my announcement in February, I said the following: "It is no secret that the majority is deeply divided along principled lines. In many ways, the growth of this division is representative of the shifts in the attitudes of the people of this state. Instead of embracing this division and building a coalition from it, the leadership has kept their internal opposition at arm's length, expecting them to fall into line with the party, even against their principle. By doing this, the leadership has alienated a growing portion of the electorate that installed them. Recently, this disconnect between the Republican Party and its members became more apparent. In March, a coalition of fiscal conservatives known as the House Freedom Caucus voted with the Democratic Caucus to block the budget proposal from the House Finance Committee. Their reason for doing so was because that proposal increased spending far more than the rate of inflation, which is contrary to the standard called for in the Republican Party platform, and certainly contrary to the standard of the Libertarian Party platform. One would think that, with the House budget having been laid upon the table, the leadership might try to find common ground with the coalition that blocked their proposal. Instead, the House leadership dug in its heels and went to the Senate to lobby for the inclusion of several policies specifically opposed by that coalition in the budget. When the budget crafted by the Senate was voted upon and sent back to the House, the leadership called a committee of conference during the recess, instead of allowing the House to vote on the matter. The House conferees named by the Speaker did not include any House Freedom Caucus members or any Libertarian members. While these actions are permitted under the rules of the House, they showed continued lack of willingness to work with the House Freedom Caucus towards passing a fiscally responsible and conservative budget. The budget that came out of the Committee of Conference still spent 9.6% more from the general fund than the last budget, and 5.9% more than the last budget between the general fund and education trust fund appropriations. This is double the increases seen under Democratic and Republican administrations. On June 22nd, the House Freedom Caucus caved and the majority of its membership voted for the Committee of Conference budget. The Libertarians walked out on the vote on House Bill 144. This is because we simply could not support the unsustainable increases in state spending over the next biennium, regardless of the fact that the budget contained tax cuts and eliminations. At the end of the day, we stand for a fiscal responsibility, and it is important that we stand for this principle unilaterally. Republican members of the House Freedom Caucus believe they were elected to pass a budget that was fiscally responsible, and I agree with their assessment. However, it appears that these fiscal conservatives have become a minority in their own party. I encourage them to continue to stand on principle. I also encourage them to consider the party of principle as a new potential home. The Libertarian Party works to defend the principles of liberty on every single issue, no exceptions and no excuses. Oftentimes, this means taking positions that defy the authoritarian aspects of both established parties. On fiscal matters, we support a balanced budget with the goal of minimizing annual increases until we can begin to make true cuts. We support the reduction of business enterprise and business profits taxes. We support the reduction of or repeal of broad-based state-level taxes. We impose the imposition of either a general income or sales tax. We support the reduction or repeal of state fees and fines. And we support increasing transparency in the budgeting process. On social issues, we support ending the failed war on drugs and eliminating funding dedicated to programs like Granite Hammer Shield. We support legalizing cannabis and decriminalizing other drugs. We support ending government involvement in marriage licensure and the rights and liberties of gender and sexual minorities. We support reforming or repealing occupational licensing in many trades. We support ending the practice of civil asset forfeiture. We support the people's Article 19 right to be secure from unreasonable searches or seizures. We support the people's Article 2A right to keep and bear arms and their right to self-defense. We support abolishing the death penalty. I believe that our principles and our priorities are most in line with the values of the people of this state, and I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that these priorities are fairly heard here in this Capitol. We are putting up candidates in special elections and running serious races. Jason Dubrow for Senate District 16, John Barbiers for House in Grafton's 9th, James Jarvis for House in Rockingham's 4th, and Brian Shields in Stratford's 13th, just to name a few. In 2018, we will support a record number of candidates that will spread this message across the state. We will hold town halls, we will have candidate forums, and we will be in debates. This movement will go far beyond 2018. It will inspire thousands of people across New Hampshire to get involved and show the rest of the country that people really can achieve liberty in their lifetime. We will be back in Concord. This is only the beginning. Thank you. And now Brandon.
Good morning. I want to first take the opportunity to thank everyone for coming today. Thank you to my family and my friends for their support, and to my constituents in Rochester, where I'm from. I would not be here today if they not trusted me with representing their ideals. When I was campaigning for public office, I was influenced by the ideas of rampant individuality, a set of principles that protects the rights of singular sovereign people. I talked about the need for fiscal conservatism, for a state budget that is balanced and sensible. I also discussed the role of government in our lives. That role does not include interfering with anyone's personal agenda, nor does it include gaining more power and control. I made my points as a Republican candidate and as a Republican representative. However, I am here today to inform the public and my colleagues that I am no longer a member of the Republican Party and have officially switched to the Libertarian Party. This switch in political affiliation is due to many concerns that I have with the direction of the Republican Party as well as its leadership. There have been many instances where members of the Republican Party were chastised by its own leadership for not following their recommendations or directions, and the recent budget situation exemplified this. This admonishment has even been documented by local news outlets for all to see. Party leadership deception is the mantra of House politics. There's also been much frustration with the lack of cohesion within the caucus and the divisions that do exist. Many liberty-minded Republicans' opinions are stifled by the House leadership, and they would rather label them terrorists than work with them to come up with sensible solutions to growing problems. I fully support all that the Freedom Caucus is doing and the influence of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. With the Republican Party in the majority, it would only make sense that moving forward, Republican legislators would be willing to do what's best for the people that gave them that power. But what I found was that both parties were seeking to manipulate potential legislation and the legislative process for political gain. It has taken me until now to switch parties. I needed to learn the political process and to observe how things are done here in Congress. I've also waited because what I'm doing here is not about me. This is about the people of New Hampshire, excuse me, and I did not want to do something to take away from the work being done. We were elected to the people's house to serve their will, their interest, and to limit government interference in their lives. I was not elected to do the bidding of a political party at the expense of my principles. Establishment partisan politics do nothing to protect the rights of people, but instead only serve to prop up and expand government with arcane plans to irresponsibly spend our money and enact burdensome regulations on businesses, small and large alike. The Libertarian Party platform gives us, as legislators, the best possible framework to expand social freedoms, support a free market economy, and ensure the checks and balances of government power are enforced. I have 3 criteria that I abide by when voting on potential bills. Will this bill expand government growth? Will it have a negative economic impact on taxpayers? And is it in the interest of freedom? As a person and a representative, I stand firm on my principles politically and philosophically, and feel that neither the Republican Party nor the Democratic Party truly represent the ideals of the citizens of New Hampshire. Veterans issues, criminal justice reform to include the family court system, and ending the failed drug war so New Hampshire's addicts can receive adequate treatment in lieu of incarceration are all of utmost importance to me and take priority as I continue to serve in this House. Ethics and reason are 2 important aspects of effective representation, and I intend to continue to serve with tenacity, transparency, and for the cause of empowering the free people of this state. Integrity and a clear conscience is desperately needed in the New Hampshire House, and together with Representatives Dyer and Stallcop, I believe that our cause will ignite a shift in political affiliation in the state and across our great country. Again, I thank you all for being here today, and I'll gladly take any questions you might have.
Representative Finney, I was wondering if you could tell us, what do you think one of the first things that the Liberty Caucus is going to be able to affect now that you essentially increased the size by 50%?
I think now that we've passed a budget, even though I personally did not vote for it, and either did Representative Dyer or Stallcop, I believe that we can still continue to try to repeal some more taxes that we feel should be cut or eliminated completely. I think that we can still focus on some more social freedoms in this state. I know House Bill 478, that was tabled, and I'd like to see a conversation on that actually happen, so the people of our state can see that we're actually taking a stand on the issue and what we think about how they feel about it.
What issue was that?
It was the
Gender identity.
Yeah, the gender identity bill. I know that we have a very large LGBTQ community in the state, and I think it would only help to serve their interest if we talk about bills that do directly affect them. Anybody else? Seeing none, I thank you for your time today, and have a great day.
We'd like to invite you to visit freekeene.com. Freekeene.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeene.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. FreeKeene.com.
I should be in Keene, New Hampshire with the Free Staters.